Episode
Alex
33.
At this point, I would say a veteran automotive photographer.
Veteran.
A veteran. Yeah, man, a veteran. Why not? Instagram's not that old.
I'll take it.
You've been there since the beginning with your car pictures, right?
Yeah, I've been doing it for a while. They were very bad for a very long time, and I still think that they're kind of bad and they need some improvement.
Nah. You're a good photographer, brother.
Well, I mean, that's how I'm going to get better anyway. Corporal Cabbage.
That's right.
Corporal Cabbage. Love
Please tell me what is with this Corporal Cabbage.
So it was a name game or a word game that my brother and I played in a car ride at some point. I don't know when. But basically we went back and forth transforming a word into a different word. So like I say pickle and then you say whatever the first thing is that comes into your head.
Okay.
And then you say your word, then I say a different one, and we just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Let's play it real quick.
Okay. Pickle.
Rickle.
Peanut butter.
Cup.
Stop.
Sauce.
Light.
Hot.
Drip.
Candle.
Heat.
Wax.
Fire.
Melt.
Ice.
Water.
Cold.
Milk.
Pie.
Eat.
Mayonnaise.
On.
What'd you say?
On. That was the first thing, like...
Life.
Drip. Okay, we're done.
Yeah. But anyways, we ended with Corporal Cabbage, and I was like, I'm just going to use that as my Instagram.
Nice.
Like my handle for everything.
At least it happened in the car, right? So we're still on subject here.
Yeah, I guess we
It
are.
relates.
So yeah, how
do we
far
got
back?
here?
This is going to take forever to load probably if we
Yeah.
look. Do you delete anything or do you still got some old stuff?
No, I don't
Hey,
really
look, that's my
delete.
dad's truck.
Yeah.
Did that.
Oh, man, I was so sad that the, what's it called?
The big millimeter, whatever.
Yeah, the E6 slide or 4x5 sheet, it got light leaked. I think what ended up happening is when the slide holder was in
Damn,
my
there's
backpack.
too many pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll start
So it light
there.
leaked from your backpack?
I think what happened is my backpack had something in it that pressed up against it, and it was letting light in around the light seal. And I think that's what happened.
That's crazy. Damn. But you should have seen it, bro. We had this big ass. I got pictures somewhere, but we had this big ass thing where you had to put the blanket over you as you look through it.
Like the fucking 1700s.
But it was like this big like thing that he shoved into the camera, and that would be like what you expose. Instead of like little film, there's this big slide thing.
Oh, you're talking about the 4x5 camera.
Yeah.
So it's 4x5 cameras. Instead of having a roll of film, you shoot like a plate. So you have to load the plate into the camera.
What's on the plate? Like, what is the essence that captures this?
So let's say my phone is the plate. The film would go here, and then this would be a hard cover that goes on it, and then there's a slide that goes in the front so that it doesn't get light. Then what you do is you take this whole thing and you load it into the camera, and then you take the dark slide out so that you can now get light to the film. And then you have your shutter timed and everything. You fire the shutter so it opens, closes, lets a little bit of light in, the metered amount of light. You put your dark slide back in, and then you remove the whole cassette from the camera. So it's like you have to take each individual picture.
And then the picture is in that little...
It's like it captures the photons.
Yeah,
It's the essence, bro. That's why I was
The
like...
essence.
So think of it this way. So you load like a roll of 35 millimeter film into your camera, right? And instead of taking 36 pictures and then winding it back up again, if you took one picture and then wound it back up and then took it out of the camera, it's like that.
Very...
In practice.
Yeah, very primal.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot of work, not the funnest thing in the world.
Slide it in, get inside, click it,
Hold a
unleash,
damn flash
take
in
it
your
out.
hand.
Right, a big flash that looks like it's gonna break every time you use it. Those old movie cameras, or like those old flash lights in the movies, that shit looks like it's gonna explode.
I actually have flash bulbs at work.
Like those?
Yeah, the ones that explode. They literally do explode.
They do?
Yeah, they do explode.
Jesus Christ.
Because what they do is they have a ball of magnesium in ribbon, and then they have a teeny tiny light bulb, and the teeny tiny light bulb ignites the magnesium in there. And sometimes it's energetic enough that it breaks the glass and the glass shatters.
Jesus,
Yeah.
man, that's ridiculous.
And then when you go to shoot another picture, you have to replace the bulb.
So is it like a specific lighting someone's trying to get when they use that kind of bulb, or is it just
Not in particular. So one of the things, or the reason why they use them quite often is because the film that they were using in that time was less sensitive to light, so it needed a lot of light. Otherwise, it wouldn't get an exposure.
about to say? Is I feel like that'd be hella exposed.
Yeah, it would be way overexposed. But we actually had a tintype photographer at Coastal that he used the modern equivalent of that. And holy shit, you could be on the other corner of the room, like looking at the corner, and he can fire it at the ceiling, and you go,
Jesus!
wow,
It's
that
like
was
a flash of lightning.
Yeah.
So when did you start doing this on cars? Have you always been into cars?
Yeah, I've pretty much always been into cars. I've been into cars since I was a kid. And my dad started with remote control cars, like the gas powered ones, and would teach me how to tune the engine until you.
Dude,
got
I had one of those
power.
that broke in 5 seconds.
Oh boy!
It was an off-road one. Drove it around for 5 seconds, immediately hit into a brick and destroyed the entire front axles. We were like, well, that was fun for 5 seconds.
Oh,
Those things go fast, bro. People
go
in my
so
neighborhood used to
fast.
have those things. And
We weren't ready.
I tuned mine until it went 75 miles an hour.
You tuned your little RC car that your dad gave you?
Yeah, well, that's what
Ridiculous.
he was using it as a tool to bully me into liking cars.
Was he into cars?
Yeah, he was super into cars and motorcycles and stuff. I think at this point in time, I'm probably more into cars than he was.
You have exceeded his fanaticism.
Yeah, I think I've been a little bit more excited about cars than he is or has been.
Cool. That's what's up, bro. So it started then for way back when with RC cars.
Yeah.
Did your dad have anything sick in the garage that you remember?
So my first car was a 1991 Toyota MR2.
Yours?
MR2.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember the bright yellow MR2?
No, man. I only remember the Miata.
I was thinking it was a yellow Eclipse in my head.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no.
You thought it was
That's
an
how low
Eclipse
you
back
think of
then?
me?
Because I remember driving by, because he lives right on the end of the road there, and I would drive by his house.
Now that I think of it, I remember it on the road.
Yeah, it was a yellow
Yeah.
car, and I don't know why I thought it was an Eclipse, but it's not.
Yeah, it's an MR2. We would have people coming over once a weekend and be like, hey, is that car for sale?
No.
Of course they were.
Fuck off.
Yeah. But anyways, I ended up getting into a wreck on that one because there was someone, I was being impatient, and there was someone turning in to the place that I was coming out of, and I couldn't see through them, but they were just crawling to it. They were going 10 miles an hour from a quarter mile down.
Yeah.
But what I didn't see, they got closer and I was like, okay, I'm going. Is the car, they had a car directly behind them and it went around and I had just laid into it. And the girl in a white Hyundai Sonata, she hit the front left of the car just at the nose.
Totaled?
Yeah, it did enough damage to be totaled, but it's just because it was such an old
Right,
car.
it has such low value that they just say that
Yeah.
for anything really. What year was it?
1991.
91.
It was also the less desirable one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
the
it.
only thing is that it wasn't that color of yellow.
What color of yellow?
No. So that's a different yellow. My dad was painting it in Ducati yellow, the Ducati 996 yellow.
Yeah.
It's a more deep yellow, whereas that one's more yellow.
You can't
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't blame me for thinking that's not a fucking Celica.
No, I get it.
thinking back real
A
quick.
Celica? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, not a Celica. An
You said
Eclipse.
an Eclipse.
I apologize.
I mean, the only two cars
I
that
can't blame you for that.
So it looks more like a Celica?
Yeah, if you said Celica, it'd be understandable, but an Eclipse?
No, I could get Eclipse because the thing is that for a long time, I don't think the side panels were on, just behind the door, where the engine intake and the additional coolant reservoir is, or not reservoir, but radiator.
Bro, look, bro. Are you kidding me? Bro.
No, that's close enough. That's
Bro.
close enough.
All right. If it's
mean-
the same era of Eclipse, but that's not the Eclipse that I was thinking of.
Thank you.
For all intents and purposes, the only two cars that I remember you, I don't know why I said all intents and purposes. Fucking, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, the only two cars that I ever remember you having are the Golf and the purple Mustang. But the purple Mustang was just so like,
it was crazy.
Like I can't get it out of my head. Like it's seared into my head that is your car.
Daniel's had some fun cars. The Golf, the Veloster, the Mustang. So yeah, the fucking 91 yellow MSR used to have, I guess, then you could mistake it for a fucking Eclipse.
Yes.
Of the same year. But I was thinking of a newer Eclipse. You know the Eclipse that has the red bar across the entire back?
Yeah.
Oh, ew.
Yeah, that shit was nasty. But Need for Speed Underground 2, that was the car.
That is the Eclipse. That is the Eclipse. Of all the Eclipses, this is the Eclipse.
The funny thing is that's actually the most terrifying car that I've ever been in.
This?
A GSX Eclipse, which is the all-wheel drive version. But the thing is, it's terrifying in the sense of how the guy had it set up, because he had a single big turbo, and I mean it was like a third, like a 60 something, like it was in the higher end of like the inlet is about that big around.
60 millimeters, you mean?
Yeah, 60 millimeter compressor wheel. Mm-hmm. It would build boost only at like 7,000 RPM, and then it would rev to 8,000 RPM. So you had 1,000 RPM of usable power, and the torque curve, you could feel it in the seat where he got on the throttle and it goes, and you're like, okay. And then it's going up, and then it hits 7,000 RPM and it goes bonk and just slams you in the seat and hauls. Shit.
I was gonna say, so it's probably not like peeling out when you leave in the gas station.
No, like you have to get it all the way up to 8,000 or 7,000 RPM to get it to do anything.
Because like the bigger the turbo, the more exhaust gases you need to get it to spin. So if you got a small engine like these cars do,
they give it more RPMs. Yeah.
It's just gonna be waiting forever for it to get going.
It made like 680 something horsepower or something like that.
That's ridiculous.
But you gotta get
it made it in a 1,000 RPM area, so like it was completely undrivable.
It's a completely different car at that RPM.
What's the goddamn point of doing that if it's like that small window of torque and power of usage? Like,
if you're drag racing, it makes sense because you are only looking for that top power. But if you're doing anything else, if you're daily driving the car, if you're riding around on the circuit, if you're driving it on an autocross, doesn't matter. If you do anything else at all, having a nice flat torque curve is the best thing that you can have.
Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous. That 1,000 RPM window,
that's ridiculous.
Red line.
He would go through corners because he drove me down Patterson Road, the one that was over in our area when we grew up. And when he would go through a corner, he would like let off the gas, get on the brakes, go to take out the corner, and it would go, boom, and then it would like light up all four tires, like and pull it a little bit to the outside. And I was like, oh no, this is terrifying.
No.
This is the reason why we're here, folks. PalmWave Podcast fans. Anyways, this is why we're here. We're here to talk about Tampa's car culture.
It's the same as Texas Roadhouse's floor.
Oh, yes. God.
This is the comment. This is the comment I put on Facebook.
I saw that shit. I'm like, what is he talking about?
I said, Tampa car culture is like the floor at Logan's Roadhouse. And that's right. I made you motherfuckers look up the floor at Logan's Roadhouse. And you saw the crushed peanuts.
Everywhere.
You saw that it was the same shit everywhere you look.
Absolutely.
Tampa car culture.
But, I mean, to give them some kind of credit, I see all kinds of car show clubs, meetups, teams, Ford, Jeep, motorcycle riders all over Facebook groups. Yeah. So are they just not serious about it? Like,
I feel like they're the way that I would put it is that like I feel like there's a handful of people that I'm like, you are doing the right thing for that car. It makes sense. Keep doing it. I'm not going to do it because it's not my car and that's not the thing that I want. But I respect exactly what you're doing. You're doing the right thing. You're doing this car justice. And there's a lot of people who buy a car and then use it for something completely wrong. Like that doesn't encapsulate the car's reason for existing.
So you're a car purist. You don't like when people bullshit and fuck around with cars that don't make it,
To be fair, Alex, you're making a lifted off-road Forester, right?
Wrong.
No? What are you doing to the Forester right now?
What I'm doing with the Forester is putting an FRS rear subframe into it,
Yeah, that's what the car was designed to do,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
This is
exactly.
exactly. Oh, so you're part of the problem.
I am.
No better person to come tell us what the problem is than a
Exactly.
participant.
You know what's funny is that when we were talking about cars earlier, I was like, I don't know if I should say that like the reason why we're on here, or if we're like trying to like slowly work our way to roasting people's cars. But I wanted to go over my cars so that you guys can understand that I am also terrible.
So we can roast your cars too, brother.
Yeah. So I had the FRS first, or not the FRS. What the hell am I talking about? The MR2. Then I had a Miata. Then I had the FRS. And currently I drive a 2003 or 4 Prius, which I have a reason for it. I actually have a pile of reasons for it. But there's a reason why I got the Prius, and I hate driving it every single day. I do not enjoy the Prius. However, it is so cheap that I keep on going, might as well keep it.
Yeah. I'm sure it's paid off. You got no payments on it, right?
Oh, absolutely not. I bought the whole car for $1,000, and then I've put $1,000 worth of stuff into it. So I have a $2,000 Prius that is perfectly running and driving, and it's fine.
Go, Alex.
Perfectly fine.
Go, Alex.
Car for $2,000.
So speaking of what's it called, the Prius being a shitbox, one of the things that I needed the Prius to, or my daily driver to do, is me be able to put an engine in the trunk and not worry about it. Like, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to go like, oh, am I going to break the car? Or is this going to be all right? No. Just throw the thing in the back. See you later.
I'm out.
So I drove to Orlando and back.
What do you mean, am I going to break the car by throwing an engine in the trunk?
Engines are heavy, bro.
Just because of that?
Well, it's more of like crushing body panels and stuff like that.
Plastic and stuff?
Yeah.
I see.
Not necessarily like breaking it, but like making it uglier.
Bending it, warping it indefinitely.
Yeah. Why would I care if I broke that? It's already broken. So I drove to Orlando and back.
It's the perfect place to put
a lot of space. Perfect. There's a whole cabinet in the back. Look at that. It's crazy.
Look at that.
I drove to Orlando and back on $8 in gas and picked up an engine, threw it in the trunk. I wasn't even planning on taking an engine home, but I was like, I got 2 ratchet straps in the back. We'll throw that in there.
Let's add another 1,500 pounds to this motherfucker.
Well,
that's not a lot of weight. 1,500. Holy shit! What kind of engine? A Cummins? We got the diesel.
It's only 300. It's not that heavy.
I thought engines were a lot more heavier than that.
Most engines aren't. The large diesel engines are very heavy. Those ones I think are in the 2,000 pound range. Don't quote me on that. The Forester, I'm building it to be a drift car.
Oh, that's right. That was the weird combo over there.
Off-road drifter.
So the reason why I say, or why I would say that that's still in the car's general direction, is the body is really not that heavy, and it, when you drive it, it feels fun and playful. So what I'm doing is I'm keeping that fun and playful going forward. There's a reason for it. It's not that I took a not fun car to drive and then forced it to be a fun car to drive or a fast car. Like there's a guy, I don't remember what his name is, but on YouTube he does like significant car modification, and he has like a Chevy Cavalier or something like that he built into a really, really, really fast track car.
Oh shit.
And he's talking on his video and he's like, yeah, here's why I don't think that you should do the things that I've done. Here's my super duper fast Cavalier or whatever it was. And then he goes, I haven't driven that thing in 3 or 4 years. But the reason why I haven't driven that thing is it sucks. It's uncomfortable to drive. It doesn't do really what you expect it to do.
It's a V6, right?
It's still dry. I think it might have been a 4-cylinder. But he's basically... this actually might be it. There's no way that I remembered Cavalier correctly.
Gone.
He's just out there upsetting people.
Yeah. But the thing is that, like, he didn't like driving that car because it still drove like a 2004 Cavalier. He never enjoyed driving it because it always drove like a Cavalier. The Cavalier is just being a Cavalier. And if you took, like, let's say a Nissan Juke, and you used a Juke as a nice performance driving car, the thing is that they already moved the center of mass pretty low. and they what's it called? They're a fun car to drive. So making it another fun car to drive doesn't really matter to me. Like I think that's communicating what the
So
car.
are
was
you comparing
originally
a Juke to a Forester?
kind of?
He's just talking about the
So-
nature of a vehicle.
The thing is that
Just embracing the nature of a vehicle.
Yeah,
And
the
the,
first-
Subaru's drifting, this Forester drifting is not far from its nature, is what you're trying
correct.
to say.
Yeah. If
I know what I'm doing here. There's a reason I got a podcast, guys. I know how to fucking listen. Think I'm not paying attention?
The first generation Forester drives a lot like the WRX, and that's where like I feel like they're the same family.
It's just kind of like a fat WRX, right?
Right. Yeah, it's a little bit of
Thick
a
boy.
fat WRX. I just wanted to make sure that everyone was okay with roasting my cars because
We gotta roast you first. Let's get some
Yeah,
pictures.
let's
Come
see
on,
the Forester.
send me some pictures through Instagram. We
you
can
want me to
look at
send it
this.
to you on Instagram.
We can look at this
Well, you can just click
Frankenstein.
on the Doug
You got it here?
Forester.
Here?
So up at the top on the stories,
Yeah.
can you read or can you watch the story? Yeah, that one.
Totally.
Yeah, there you go. So this
We'll
is
just let it play.
picking up the Forester for $400. I picked up a rear tailgate for it, and it fits in Angela's Crosstrek. I got a license plate for the Forester, and that's the rear subframe. I think getting ready to be lined up.
Can I say I wouldn't want any other Florida license plate?
Hell yeah.
Oh, dude!
What does that
It's so
say?
Florida.
Real wheel drive, brother?
No,
Like, what is
rear wheel
that?
drive beater, rear wheel drive brother, or what's it called rear wheel drive better.
Okay. Fucks with it.
Allie Anderson had that car in high school. That exact color.
Yeah.
Fucking.
I love it. I love it. So this is me straightening out the what's it called front bumper. That's a Subaru badge that I 3D printed.
He 3D printed and cut that out so it looked
No.
nicer and cleaner. Is that the same stock dimensions?
So I actually designed the parts in Fusion 360, and then what's it called? Printed them on the 3D printer, sanded them, and then spray painted them with chrome paint. And I was going to use them on my Forester, but I sold them to another friend of mine who has the same Forester also. And I don't know if she's put the badges on yet, but she has them.
Nice.
I'll probably make a... or I
Two
will
people
make
who don't
another
want to
set.
put their nice ass Subaru badge on their Subaru.
It'll be a Subaru.
Subaru.
Oh, I see you didn't have the
Yeah,
R.
Subaru.
It's a Subaru.
Nice. Moving on. Moving on.
So there's Angela underneath the Forester. I think this is when we were draining all the fluids, like right after I got it. Here's me knocking out the rear strut mount for where I'm going to be welding in a strut mount. So this is putting the rear subframe in. There is my acceptable welding ability. So that's the strut mount, and then up in
looks
the left-hand
clean.
corner,
Yeah,
you can
looks not
see
bad.
where the old one was. That's where the old strut was, and because I'm going to a different rear subframe setup, that's where they need to be, and there's it in place.
Where the old one was and where the new one's going to be lined up.
Yeah, so go back to the other one. So the old strut used to go straight through the middle. Yeah, right there, all the way up. It's about a foot down and then like 8 inches back is how far I had to move the strut mount.
This Frankenstein monster
Yeah.
that you've been making.
There's me welding underneath the Forester. That's welding in the...
Looks like proper
Into second
techniques.
straight
I saw that in the manual.
Leg
Yeah.
getting some good leverage there.
And there's me jumping on it, showing that it has full suspension on both sides.
It works. Look at that. Look
And
at that.
then that's the direction that I'm planning on going with the
Hell
with the
yeah.
Forester. As far as you want to pause. So I hired what's it called Skyry Art on
So you tagged him,
Instagram.
yeah? Mhm.
Yeah, I hired him to design the car, and I gave him like kind of a direction to go in, but not super specific. So like I gave him a bunch of things that I wanted to be there, but no exact direction. Because I wanted him to add like little flares and stuff like that that makes it look cooler. And I wanted him to choose what the style of the car needs to be. So he designed that. And once I get all of the groundwork done, like as far as getting everything running and driving, I'm immediately going to be going for this.
That's amazing. It looks really good. How did you find this guy?
I actually don't remember. I think I was actually just scrolling through the
Explore page?
yeah, I think it was just the Explore page. It wasn't anything particularly exciting, and I just saw his post a bunch of times, and I was like, ooh, I like the way that he draws cars. I wonder if he would take a commission to draw my own car so that I can go in that direction with it.
What you should do is enter this into Google or AI and see what they pull up.
No, they wouldn't make anything clean like this.
Yeah, no, this has too much. He put a lot of thought into like exactly how he was doing everything. And I really like the direction that he went with
It looks fire.
Yeah, AI is still not in the level to create detailed, final, complete things like the fact that it has street magic right here, and AI couldn't actually produce that.
And then I made a new Instagram for the Forester because I've been making some YouTube videos on what I've been doing with the Forester. Mm-hmm. I'm mostly trying to like, I guess, pay attention to like what I've done already, because quite often I get into the trap of like, oh, did I even do anything? Like, I didn't do anything to this car. Like, yeah, I just like threw an engine in it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. But like, I kind of want to be able to look back on it and be like, oh wow, I did do a lot. Like, I accomplished something. Mm-hmm. I've done a lot of the things that I'm doing to the Forester on other people's cars, but I've never done it on my own car and done all of the things at once.
So we never had the complete like final product, a car ready to show.
Yeah. I'm definitely doing.
So what do you think, guys?
Stuff.
You saw the art direction where he's gonna go with his Frankenstein monster. This is your opportunity to comment down below and shit on Alex, because we're gonna be shitting on you.
I know in Utah there was a car show that I shoot that I've shot the last 2 years.
You've gone out to Utah to shoot at this car show specifically?
Yeah, they flew me out there to shoot the car show, and then basically I just bring Angelo with me. And then what's it called? It's basically a free vacation for me. And all I have to do is take pictures at a car show.
They pay you to come out?
Yeah.
Oh man, what off of what? Just like your existing body of work / what portfolio? Did you send it? How did you get that job?
So
that gig?
The funny thing is, it's just a friend of mine, or a friend of Angela's, who I made friends with. They're a couple. Omid and
that's
Lisa.
Nice. How do they meet?
But Angela was friends with I think Lisa, and then Omid is into cars, so I was like,
let's be
you
buds.
want to be friends? And we've just got along a lot, and we're on the same page with like what should and shouldn't be done to a car. And he has a really nice 240 SX, a Kuki. That it's a good. He's done a good job with it.
His Instagram,
Omido style, OMIDO. ST, yeah, Omido style. That's him. I think he has a. Yeah, okay, there we go. That's actually. I don't think I took. Yeah, no, that's that's on Gran Turismo.
That's a video game.
That's exactly what his car looks like, though.
Damn, these games are too good.
Keep going down. Let's see. Oh, there we go. The one that of him in the car. Yeah, there you go. That one. That's his. That was a film picture on our way to the car event, and him and his friends host the car event. So he was like, "Oh, Alex does photography. I'll give him a call and have him come down."
Mountains in the background.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so gorgeous.
That is what's up.
There was an NSX that was at the car meet or the car show, and it was like an okay NSX. Like it wasn't particularly done up or anything, but he had some okay wheels, and then he had these hideous red lug nuts on it, and it immediately made the whole car look like it might as well have been like a Honda Civic that you saw that's beaten up driving down the street with fucking lug nuts too far out with no real purpose. Like,
yeah, it's trashy.
What the hell is that? It's like that's just itching to do something but he knows he shouldn't do anything to it and keep it stuck. But he's just like, I gotta do something. Red lug nuts.
What color was the actual car?
Red. It was a red body with black wheels and then red lug nuts.
No.
So like the red lug nuts are like in your face, and it was like one of those like
cringe.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, back to
when
Tampa.
I think of Tampa car scene, is just like this great disparity. There's like no middle class. You know what I'm saying? There's like garbage, trashy cars, and then there's just like people who drove
supercars.
One of these straight off the lot to the car show, which is like, dude,
it's like, why are you bringing that to a car show? Like, there's no point. Like, you have.
It looks like a dealership.
You didn't put any work. You just bought it right off. Yeah, come on.
An exotic car dealership.
The whole car show looks like a fucking car dealership. And it's like, why did you even bring your car out here?
Bro, they had some good car shows at that Planet Fitness, though. It wasn't just like bullshit ass, like you said, straight off the lot cars. It was like, they actually put them together.
Oh boy, a Porsche that has a Hot Wheels.
That's disgusting.
Livery.
Okay,
unique. So that's their entire. You scroll all the way down. It's just a bunch of cars straight off the lot, and then a couple of oldies.
These are uninteresting pictures.
I didn't mean to like that, but you guys got my like.
Yeah, can you unlike it?
Yeah, go ahead and unlike that.
I forgot where it was.
Pull that back.
No free clout. No free clout.
One down. Yeah, there you go. Just
get rid of it.
Get rid of that.
Let's leave it like that.
And then they got a picture of this guy's fucking uneven. He's selling stuff now. He's selling stuff.
There's a few people that like have
used the opportunity to promote their vendor shop.
Yeah, some car shows have like little vendor things. That's the other thing is like old restored muscle cars. Okay, you put gold wheels on it and a roof rack. Like, wow, you have a cookie. Good job.
With this blur on, I guess it's a light flare. This is style. It is glamour.
I don't know what's going on there. It doesn't quite look like a flare, but it also doesn't.
The Ferrari with the teeth in the front.
A Ferrari?
Or Lamborghini. Hey, man, I can't see from back here, dog.
Sure, bro. You shouldn't have to see. Look at the shape, bro.
It's okay, I guess. I've never been a huge fan of the Lamborghini for the most part.
Why is that?
I don't know. They're just too... They're too out there.
They don't sound good either. They don't sound particularly good.
I don't think they sound particularly bad. I would say Porsche sounds particularly bad in the low RPMs.
Yeah.
And immediately after saying that, I will tell you that Porsches are probably my favorite of the high-end performance cars. Just because I feel like they're still keeping that love of cars alive.
A love of driving.
Yeah. A love of connection with driving and being able to pilot the car instead of ride in the car, because like a lot of the new cars, it more feels like you're riding in the car or on the car, rather than piloting
playing
the car.
A video game, because everything is so computerized, right? And then even like the interior of the car is getting bigger and more stuff, and you're just so
it's very softened, which makes sense,
floaty,
which makes sense for most people, but like when you want that engagement, it's not there. Like a slower car being driven faster will be more fun just because it's more fun. Like you feel more.
That's why people crash Teslas so much. Is because they have one of the highest performing in a straight line vehicle that you can get, and they're just not used to that kind of power. They're, a lot of Tesla owners, at least back in the day, and now Tesla's opened up to more of a more diverse population. But back then it was just a bunch of people transitioning from like a Prius or something.
Exactly.
And from a Prius to suddenly the fastest thing you could possibly drive.
That's a trap.
So much power behind your hands.
That's a trap that a lot of motorcycle riders fall into that I see all the time. Because they'll start out on like a 300cc motorcycle or a 250 or like the 2-cylinder 600, which they're usually soft. And like, you can get to 100 miles an hour, but you have to fight the motorcycle about as much as you have to in a car. So it's not like dramatically faster than a car. But then if you step into like a 600cc super sport or a 1000cc super sport, 100 miles an hour becomes a joke. And it's hard to understand how quickly you can get to 100 miles an hour and how long it takes you to stop from 100 miles an hour. And that's the hard part. Like a lot of people will see something way up there and they're used to driving like 60, maybe 80 miles an hour, but 100 miles an hour, when something's way out there and you see someone that might look like they're turning, you start to just immediately have to start anticipating them turning. Because until you get there, you'll get there by the time that they have pulled out 3 feet. So you have to be very aware of like what's going on, and a lot of people don't have that, and they get stuck in a situation and then dying.
Yeah, that's a term that I've made up myself. Is a vehicle is very floorable. The Prius is very floorable.
Oh,
you can
yeah.
floor the Prius and never be worried.
Yeah.
You get to some of these cars, like a Model S, when it's your first time getting in a car with that much power, you're afraid to floor it.
Yeah.
You're afraid to floor it.
Yeah. And I think that you should not be afraid to floor any car that you drive. And you also shouldn't be afraid to slam on the brakes all the way hard. And the way that I like learn to drive someone's car is by what's it called? Flooring it and then getting up to about 60 miles an hour, slamming on the brakes until it almost locks up the brakes or ABS kicks in, and feel it out, like how grippy the tires are, how the weight transfers. And then I'll hard right, and then like at maybe 15, 20 miles an hour in a parking lot, and then like roll hard into the throttle and see if it pushes the front wheels, if it understeers or if it wants to oversteer, like
Smart.
what it wants to do.
Yeah.
And
That's safe. That's like if you're gonna be driving a car, like knowing its limits,
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
that
You
you
know
can drive
how-
more safely.
how far you can push it before it will be a problem. And then once I do that, like I have a instinctual understanding of like what that car can do.
Because you get in that situation in real life, and it's the first time you don't know how your car's going to react, and that's when you fuck up and
Yeah.
crash. And
Like I know that the Prius absolutely is dog shit at braking and turning at the same time. It's also dog shit at accelerating and turning at the same time, just because the tires are so small in the
Yeah.
front and all of the weight's on the front. So like someone pulled out in front of Angela and I, like they were getting ready to make a left-hand turn and we're passing by and then they just started making the left-hand turn. And what I did was not press the brakes at all, just turn hard right and then hard left so that I would go in between them and the pole, so that I had like enough of an angle on it.
yeah,
But the difficult part was committing to not pressing the brake. Because if you hit the brake, then the whole car understeers and then you just slam into them anyway.
yeah. Well, shit, man. Like you said, it is smart, y'all. If you get a car, test its limits so you know what the fuck out. Like if you have any
In a
sticky
parking
situations in a parking lot,
Yeah,
obviously
not
not in
on the
traffic,
street.
but that's smart. I should do that. I never thought about that actually.
Should I be picking the cars that I'm roasting?
Yeah, man.
I don't want to see
Because I feel like these are all
man.
okay. Like they're whatever. Like I feel like it's just that's a car. It's a car. Oh, that's Bar's car. Oh, I should roast his car. Because his car was imported as like I actually know who. It's Michael Barr, or Highway Star Barr. I don't know.
You should pull up Nate's Camaro.
So this is his R32. It's kind of a dressed up, practically a not totaled car, but like a really not great shaped car. And then he's gone through it and got it to
ABC.
look and feel a whole lot nicer. I don't necessarily think that like so one of my pet peeves about
Wet.
Michael
Moist.
As a person, which I don't consider him enemy.
Dripping.
We're not like super good friends or anything.
Nice.
He's your rival.
He's definitely not my rival. I like Michael Barr. He's fun to hang out with. And I like having him as an acquaintance or friend. But anyways, he doesn't drive his car very well. Like he basically just accelerates, brakes, and then turns hard. He doesn't have any.
Sorry.
He doesn't have any finesse to roll the car in. So like it feels like crude inputs.
Like he's just going, hoping for the best, like type
right,
shit.
Yeah. I feel like he doesn't have the quite.
It's not calculated.
Yeah.
Here's a turn, I'm turning.
Yeah. Which his car's fast. It's definitely not slow.
That shit is nice. Though. I like that car.
I'm also not a huge fan of R32s in general.
32s, really?
Or
Skylines?
33s or R34s.
Skylines in general, you're not a big fan?
Not a huge
You don't
fan
like
of them.
Skylines?
No.
Out of the lot, I
particularly.
prefer the 32s. I like the cleaner, more simpler, less aggressive look.
Yeah.
A
don't-
lightly modified 32, in my opinion, is the better way to go. Like this guy, he's got a nice 32. If
Yeah.
you're saying it's very dressed up, clunky interior or clunky powertrained 32,
By the way, Michael Barr is like one of the nicest people that I know. He's super kind.
thanks for being nice, Michael.
Did he go to Sickles?
No, I
guy.
actually don't know what high school he
He
went
looks
to.
familiar.
He's friends with a few of my other friends also, which is how I met him. Which I don't remember exactly how I met him, but he's a good kid. I like him.
Look, his car's in a big interior space with other cars. It must be nice.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I feel like the car is built really well. He just doesn't drive it really well. And the other thing is, I think he's had a bunch of issues with like just dumb stuff on it.
Maybe it's because he's afraid.
Maybe he's a pussy.
No, because this car it's not easy to get. He had to import it. It's not like they're everywhere and easy to work on. Parts are super available. Not horrible, I'm sure, but like still, maybe that fear of like, am I gonna break the power steering fluid line on this corner if I go too hard or something?
Well,
I don't know.
No, because like the thing is if it's gonna break, it's gonna break. It doesn't matter really
How hard you drive it.
Right.
Yeah, of course it does. Matter how hard you drive it.
You're just accelerating the braking, not necessarily.
Fair enough.
Like for example, my FRS, I think I went through like 8 axles on the rear end because they would start clicking pretty quickly. But the thing is, I had the thing fucking absolutely slammed, and they take like 15 minutes to change.
Quick clip of what he would do to the FRS. Wild.
But what's it called? I would replace the axles like every 6 months. And the thing is that I knew that I had lowered the car too much and I am driving it hard. So those axles are not going to like it. And my solution for it, instead of driving the car softer, is I just replace more axles. Yeah, because I was getting free axles from AutoZone because they have a lifetime. They have a lifetime replacement. So I would just keep on taking the axles.
And I'm sure
back.
that shit was discounted too, my brother. Hey, look up Nate Hewitt, Eric's brother. He's got a pretty nice Camaro.
Oh, Camaro.
Is he private?
Talked about this.
You
again.
did literally mention earlier the Camaros you weren't a fan of.
Yeah, no. Like it's
okay. He chromed
carbon
the upper lip. Is that even what we call this? The upper lip?
No, that's the top of the bumper. It's the top of the bumper. Yes, they have
You can't tell me that's not clean, dog.
No, it's okay.
Go to his highlights.
So you have good pictures in his highlights or something?
Angelica, is that the name of the car?
Yes.
Oh my lord.
Oh.
Dirty girl getting clean, getting her corners rubbed.
Wow,
bro, it's
generic.
very aggressive looking.
Getting all the grooves.
Yeah, but I know how it drives, and it drives like a Toyota Camry with 600 horsepower. Like, yeah, sure, it's technically fast.
Don't disrespect.
It drives like a boat. Like it goes all the way around.
And
nice
a Camry has better visibility.
Yeah, and you can see out of a Camry. A 600 horsepower Camry would be more useful than this. And it's got 4 doors.
And you could take the kids.
So can we get on the same page that at least looks good?
Does it?
I do like the way that they look.
There we go.
All right, yeah.
I don't like this particular thing that he has going on. I've never liked the carbon hood like mismatch.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
It's a little weird for me, yeah.
I've never liked that style of vent. Like I like the subtle vents,
where it's
vents.
hidden, where you can't see it from the front necessarily.
So you see that vent, it immediately says not OEM to me. Like it screams it.
It does. It does look a little
Amazon.
And what I want the parts to look like when you modify a car.
CarID.com.
Oh my god, this is just the slap a router through your hood, cut a hole in it, and then throw this in there.
3D
but,
print RS.
That doesn't look like it fits that car.
Yeah, it looks weird. It looks awkward.
You could put that in any car, and it would look exactly the same. It doesn't fit any car. And it doesn't have any character to it. It doesn't look.
At least the paint job on the same level as the rest of the car would help it not stick out so much.
Yeah,
but even just like that rim around it just looks like, this is a plastic insert that pops in and out.
Right.
It's too much space.
Like I feel like NACA ducts look significantly nicer. NACA. I absolutely love the way that NACA ducts look. So those are NACA ducts.
super plush. It doesn't have that weird plastic rim all the way around it.
So you basically just have a hole in your hood, and it's not visually disturbing. Like it doesn't visually pop out. No. Like you see on that F40 or F50. I can't tell what that is from here, and I'm not super great with Ferrari. But like you see how all the NACA ducts, like they're there and you see them, but they're not
in your fucking face.
They're not in your face. They're not vocal about it.
Loud.
Yeah, they're not visually loud. See, that like blends in perfectly. Like you don't notice almost that hidden. They're there. Like you see them, but your brain doesn't recognize them. Like it just goes, and throws it away.
You see, even this, like that style, where it's huge slots up the hood, but like it's not totally visible because he's got livery and it's also the angle.
Yeah. Those are louvered hood. So look up louver or louver press, pressed louver hood. It's like LOU. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so this is another style that I really enjoy. That's in particular because you have ridges on there and you can also sink them in instead of raising them up. Not that I don't particularly like. The reason why is because that's a panel. It's not the hood.
Yeah.
So like it immediately you see that it's like lifted off. I feel like these match a whole lot better. There's a FRS that was on what's his name? Big car guy that does the presenting. Jay Leno. Jay Leno GT86. That one. So look at how he did the louvers. So he
can't even see it. Where am I looking? Right?
What's in the stripes?
No, I'm saying that's the point.
Hidden.
It's in the stripes, and the guy actually made a louver press for doing this job, and then
it bends. It's bending the raw metal of the OEM hood.
Right. It cuts and bends the actual thing. The only thing is doing that for one hood would cost, let's say, $4,000. Whereas buying that little panel costs $400. So in my brain, I know how much effort went into putting that hood on, and it's so low that my brain goes, like that's garbage. Like it didn't take effort.
Mm-hmm. I'm learning because I thought louvers were only on like the back of windshields.
On the back of Fox body Mustangs.
The slots? Yeah.
Louvers only exist on the back of Fox body Mustangs. That's the only place that they exist.
I actually do like them on the
nice.
Fox body Mustangs.
They look really nice.
Fox body Mustangs are like one of my favorite cars also.
Somehow, right?
Like the style of it is absolutely fantastic. With that being said, I don't like driving them.
Really?
I got to drive one and I can't tell you the amount of disappointment. It was immense. That was like, it was a really high point before, and now I can appreciate.
You think it's just a little bit of a Paris effect, like you just made it too big in your mind for something that's late '80s engineering.
I just sent a video to the podcast. It's a pretty sick Mustang that this NFL player has.
Oh God, please no!
You'll like it, trust me.
There's no way.
Impossible. There's no way. Okay, he got it. He made it skinny. That's an LX.
Okay. You got to hear what he's saying about it, what he has on there.
Oh, okay.
Clean.
Yeah, this is clean. This is fantastic. I love it.
Clean.
If he did any modifications to it to try and up the performance and kept it with the same emotion from it, like it still feels like the same car, I think it would be fantastic.
Bro, I told you like it, man.
Yeah,
I know your taste now.
Oh man, you know my taste. This is my taste. One of my favorite cars ever. Like for OEM body, like don't do anything to it at all. Just lower it, put it on wheels, and it's done. Like do absolutely nothing else. Is the FDR X7. That one.
There for his wedding.
There's another one. This NBA player, Devin Booker, he has all these crazy nice, like
this was his high school
Tyler
dream
the Creator
car.
Also.
Tyler the that BMW that him and Frank have. This is Devin Booker.
So another thing that I would mention is like lowriders and stuff like that. The amount of effort that they put into every detail of their car. Holy hell. Like that thing, it reeks of what's it called? Someone pouring their heart into the car.
Absolutely.
And I absolutely love that that feeling of the car.
Lowriders were kind of the first modified cars, along with bootleggers.
Yeah. And like I absolutely love that thing that they're doing with their cars. Would I build a lowrider? Would I put the effort into it? No, it's not a car that I would want. But like the kids running around in like Velosters or something like that.
Shots fired.
A lot of them think that their car is like this really high performance and that you can like juice it for more power, and like there's nothing there. It has a rigid rear end. The front end is too heavy. All it does is wants to understeer. The interior just feels like an Elantra.
It had the sports seats, man.
Yeah, it had sports seats, but the thing is what
metal clutch pedal, metal.
It had a sports
clutch.
Yeah.
It had a
what? Okay, if you put all of the things that you're going to say into an Elantra, would it feel any different?
The thing is, when I drove my Veloster, I didn't drive it like it was a motherfucking SRT. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I just, cooling. You know what I'm saying?
So what do the Veloster kids have to do with the lowriders?
I feel like they're not like they don't quite get it yet. Like they haven't.
They think that they are tasting car culture, and then there's this.
They're thinking that like, oh yeah, I'm gonna throw LEDs on the bottom, and now I have a cool car. Like it's like stop.
Put it on Instagram where the meat's at.
Yeah. And there are legitimate people that do that, and it's just
Wrap it,
one of
put
those
some
like,
lights on it. Let's go.
Yeah. I hate that. I absolutely hate it. Cheapest wing that you can find on eBay, and then fucking
Car ID guy. Car ID.
Drop it like a 1/4 inch.
Saws all the catalytic converter off so that it sounds meaner.
Nasty. Right?
Yes.
So we saw what Cars and Coffee. Oh, 1 second for the mufflers. Like, if you've ever like been in music, you know why it doesn't work. People, come on. If you ever Google dimension to power ratio on the mufflers, there's a scale guide there.
Yeah.
Like so many horsepower, so many inches on the muffler. If you don't stick to that, you're gonna sound like a really skinny kid trying to blow into a huge tuba.
You're gonna sound like a shit box, man. A
It
fart
sounds
box.
terrible. The FRS, the reason why I kept it like as close to stock as possible for the exhaust, so I replaced the header, and then I did nothing else. And the reason for that is that FRSs, the instant that you make them loud at all in any way, shape, or form, they sound like hot garbage. You might as well, like, it's the worst
Like
sound.
a lot of these cars don't want to sound good, and the manufacturer did a lot of engineering to make it sound good with that stock muffler. And you do some work after that, you ruin the whole chemistry that they just created.
The FRS in general, if you get it like louder than like if you remove any muffler, it's gonna sound terrible. It just sounds terrible. If you have a glass pack, it always sounds terrible. It just sounds raspy, throaty, and it sounds like a Honda Civic. And Honda Civics don't sound great.
No, they don't. All you Chicos out there, y'all don't sound cool.
Hey, the fan base has widened from Chico's, all right?
Has it though?
Yes, it has. So we saw the Tampa Cars and Coffee, and that's basically people coming out of the Ferrari and Porsche dealership straight to Cars and Coffee. But what about some of the more underground stuff? Tell us what that scene is like. Because I've never been to a car meet of that nature.
So I would say the underground car meets are more of a bunch of friends that all know each other and are trying to like reconnect with each other rather than a car meet.
It's not some sort of general organized thing. It's just a bunch of people that more or less know each other, or
yeah, for the most part. Like a lot of people are coming out there and they're going to talk about each other's cars. But it's more of keeping up to date with the person rather than the car.
It's not a big flex fest.
For example, when I came up here and I haven't seen you in like a year, I was like, oh, hey, how was your accident, or how have you recovered from your accident since you crashed the Mustang? And that's where I was saying like, oh, I'm bringing that car back into it, even though the car's not really what we're here to talk about. It's kind of like that where you're hanging out, you're going, oh, hey, what have you done to your car in the last 6 months since I haven't seen you? Have you done anything cool or anything like that? That type of a thing.
Yeah, like, people aren't coming there just to like pull their dicks out and flex their cool whip.
My biggest complaint is there's no track around here.
Oh yeah, the track.
But I heard they're building one.
I hope that they build something sometime soon, and
they are.
Cletus McFarland's actually having a bunch of.
They're building one on Falkenberg, South Falkenberg.
Really?
We're gonna have a racetrack out there, and you're gonna be able to rent Ferraris and Lambos and the exotics. But they're also gonna have open track days for the layman's and poor peoples with Prius like us.
We're gonna see what it looks like.
You're gonna take your Prius to this racetrack?
Why not?
I mean,
I have an open track
I
day.
would put stickies on the Prius and then just drive it around. But the thing is, that's laughing at how poor the Prius is as a track car. So how fast can you drive the Prius? Like if you just put the stickiest tires that you possibly can on, how fast can you make it go? Who can you upset?
Exactly. You can have this line of 911s behind you, like, oh, this fucking white ass Prius needs to get the fuck out of the way. As soon as there's an opening, they just boom, 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 boom past you.
Yeah, but also
TSXL, baby.
Think about like what's it called? Somebody new coming into it or something like that. Or
right, because this is gonna open up a lot of doors.
Yeah.
Like right now, as it stands, you got to go like 2 hours or like an hour out of your way. Just it being right there in Brandon is going to make it a lot more accessible for people to get their cars out there.
What type of track is it going to be? Is it going to be a circle track or is
it's
it
not going to be a simple
course?
It's going to be some sort of circuit, I think. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Showtime down in Clearwater, St. Pete area, they have a circle track, but the pavement on it is so bad that
it's just some old retrofitted something.
Yeah.
This is going to be a purpose-built track.
And to be completely honest, it's just a bunch of boomers running it.
You haven't seen the garage condos?
The garage condos?
That they're building around the corner?
I haven't
out
seen
in Brandon.
No, I haven't seen those.
They're building condos where people would literally just it's a huge glass room with a small loft like this for like a bed and stuff, and it's just like your garage out in the open. If you buy the super big one, just basically you're gonna have a little party with your Porsche in the living room or some shit like that. It's literally. Let me show you.
You know what's funny is that like I've always kind of wanted a garage in my house, like inside of the house, so that I can look at a car.
This is exactly for that. For people with like 3 Porsches and a Lambo to just want to really, really enjoy their expense.
But I don't necessarily want people walking by to see it. Like I want it to be a part of the space.
That's dope.
That's kind of interesting.
That is dope.
I get it. I feel like that it's too glass housey to me.
It's super glass housey.
I'm not a huge fan of glass housey.
You could probably tint the windows. That's not a big deal.
This is why, because you want everyone to see your fucking car, and also how popular you are with your car party. I don't know.
You know what's funny is that ironically, the house that I really want to have is a warehouse with a loft on the top. And I would have all my machining and welding and stuff downstairs, and have the cars and motorcycles and stuff that I keep. But like I don't want, like, I want that to be separated, but enough that like I can still see
He's
it.
got a helicopter.
Look, this guy's got his personal plane.
All right,
Rich motherfuckers.
Who is this for?
Rich asses, bro. Rich asses.
For anyone, none of you fucking rich fucks are watching this, but do you know the neighborhood that you're going to be housing all of your $1 million worth of steel and rubber?
It's currently known for
nothing
its
out
jail.
You're right. It's currently known for its Falkenberg jail. But hey, you're gonna have it there. I can't imagine how does somebody live like this. This is not a permanent thing. This is what.
It's like a
who uses this? Who is this for?
The funny
single
thing,
millionaire.
The only thing that I see when I see this is little oil spots on the ground and having to sweep them up. And if I move the car, I have to put it in the exact same spot again. Because I've cleaned up so many of these things. So like I want a garage, like that's separate from the house, but like has a glass wall.
You got to pull out 3 cars to take out 1 car.
Yeah, that's
I don't understand who is this for. Like this can't be something that you permanently live in. It's just this is okay. So this is just for car storage at its finest. It's not just storage, but also has a little bit of livability in there.
It's
right.
It's more of a museum.
So you can spend the entire day with the car comfortably while it's being worked on because you're not working on it. You're watching the people you paid to work on it, but you can chill and hang out and be a part of the process comfortably.
That's what guys do. I mean, we like watching people do work, right?
Yeah, but when you're a Mercedes in the shop, you'll have to clean up the oil spot that's on the ground.
Yes, Alex, there's going to be oil spots.
Just get a pressure washer, dog. I mean, he's rich enough to change the floor as many fucking times as you want if you fucking stay in there.
Yeah, right. Absolutely ridiculous with the fucking big screen and the fucking
guitars on the wall, asshole.
Crazy, and they're building this here. It's probably in anticipation of the racetrack.
I mean, that would make sense.
That it's so close.
Or there's just a shit ton of money about to come to Tampa.
Because, store your nice cars close to the place that you drive to so you can keep the miles low. Right?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Give it the old Italian tune-up on the track.
Bro, when we went to Sebring,
For the
remember-
24-hour.
yeah, I remember
The
seeing
first 24-hour Sebring race.
I remember seeing most of through history the cars winners were 911s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like an entire
So-
decade of Porsche.
The two things that Porsche, I think, really, really, really shines at are making fun drivers' cars and making reliable track cars. I'm not saying that they're the absolute fastest, but they've learned exactly where the balance is of the right amount of power without enough weight, and to try and get as much life or longevity out of the car. So as long as you keep up with the maintenance, you're fine.
So there it is. It's opening this summer.
Oh, wow, that soon?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it was that soon. Wow. I mean, that's
Okay.
not necessarily what the type of track that I would be driving on, just because I swing a lot more towards the drifting side. But the reason why I like the drifting side of things is because it's more of a place to hang out with your friends, more than like a competition.
Bro, they're going to have a rallycross track too.
Yeah, I did see that. And then they should have like an off-road area.
How much is it to
A
get in?
Rubicon Trail. So that's like a Jeep, a 4x4 experience. For you to bring your Broncos, everybody.
Yeah, but
Bring your Bronco to come break your Broncos.
Why don't you just bring your Bronco to like actual trails?
Because those are not manicured.
Then you can go on an adventure.
Fucking adventure.
You're not gonna get a.
This is
branch
for
on
the
side of your
gram,
leg.
bro. I bought a GoPro and everyone's gonna see me using my Bronco. Now they won't talk shit about me for having a
gram.
lifestyle car. All right?
no.
I'm gonna bring my Hyundai Santa Cruz and I'm gonna shred that. Is it a Santa Cruz?
I think so. That's their pickup.
The Hyundai
yeah.
pickup. That's right.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bring my
the Santa
Hyundai pickup
Cruz.
and I'm gonna shred that thing.
Bring my Tacoma out there, baby.
No, a Tacoma's respectable. A Hyundai Santa Cruz. Oh man.
You know what's funny is that one of the things that I actually prided myself on with the FRS is doing things that other people wouldn't do with a car that is higher up off the ground. And I would be like, what do you mean you're not going to go up that? Like, you can fit up that. Like, you just have to do it like this. And then I'll just go do it. And then they're like, oh, I am kind of a pussy.
Bro, this would be perfect for the forest.
But like the FRS, one of the things that I did with it was actually get it up onto a curb. By turning the wheel, like going up parallel to the curb, turning the wheel all the way to one side, and then giving it a little quick clutch kick to get it up.
How
onto the
big
curb.
of a curb?
Full size curb. But the thing is that my car was only this far off the ground, and the way that I got it to lift it up was teeter-tottering it by having the wheels turned all the way this way, and then lifting up the front end.
So
and
just
then
grabbing more tires.
yeah, and it got like a little bit of the frame rail, but I was able to
Do it pretty
for the
cleanly.
most part.
Yeah.
Like I didn't hit any body work, and I didn't curb the rear wheel.
There you go.
But then the thing is that people will come through and they'll be like, "I can't drive over this curb in my truck. It's too scary."
What? That's ridiculous.
Pussies. Pussy.
All right,
to
who's
think
the, what other car can we roast,
I'm
guys?
trying to think of more car people.
Are you
I know.
looking like? Are you specific? Like you want to roast specific people?
Yeah, dude. We just
was
roasted
thinking-
Nate.
Yeah, I suppose. But I feel like I was just mostly roasting Camaros.
Who else has a
No,
car?
I did talk a lot of shit about the hood
His
livers, 'cause
specific-
It's so
See?
it's
His specific setup. Yes, we did. We
I'm gonna
shit
send
on
him a clip of that.
oh boy.
it. Who else has a car? Somebody's got a car.
Let's see.
Amber Alalem still have a car?
Khalil used to have a car.
Yeah, but
Khalil Brown's driving around something old now.
I haven't heard from Khalil since high school either.
I recently added him on.
Oh boy, what is he
A
driving? He
392.
was such a goofball in high
He
school.
was hilarious.
I remember him just being super nice.
Great
now,
skater.
Now he's got a Dodge.
Hell yeah,
Wow.
Khalil. Hell yeah, Khalil.
Wow,
A USF
boy.
colored Dodge.
so cool, and he's got the bumper protectors for shipping. Wow.
Yeah.
That's what that is?
Yeah, those are bumper protectors for shipping. They put them on while they're crating them.
So that's not for aesthetics. He just left it on there.
Nope, that's a Dodge.
Are you sure?
It's still nice.
Yes,
bro.
you can look
It's
it
a
up.
nice car.
Look up Dodge bumper protectors, shipping bumper protectors.
I've seen it on Corvettes. I've seen them everywhere.
Dodge shipping bumper protectors.
It came. I'll stop talking.
No, go ahead. It came with.
But anyways, they shipped it, and some of the people bought chargers before they were actually ready for to go on to the sales area, and people started driving around with the bumper protectors still on, or the
that's cool.
lip protectors.
So that became a look.
Yeah, and it became a look.
Oh my god, ridiculous!
They've probably got all different kind of colors.
No, they actually only made the original ones. If I recall correctly, they were only orange or that like yellow color. Wow.
Didn't he have a BRZ or something or a?
No, he used to have a Ford Focus.
But he put some work in it. I'm pretty.
No, it was stock boost.
That's a great Civic.
Who's Civic?
Khalil's. Or at least there's pictures of a Civic. I don't know whose it is.
Oh yeah.
Seems like that.
Exhaust cuts in the hood there.
Yeah, which like I kind of get it. When you actually go to route the turbo, like the ducting, it's really difficult to get the exhaust to make the turn that you need it to for it to go out the back. Because the exhaust header's on the front, if I recall correctly, which means that you have to go underneath the engine or you have to go up and over and around the engine, but there's a lot of stuff that's in the way. So a lot of people take the shortcut of vump, vump, and then just go straight out the hood. The only thing that I think is obnoxious about that is that for driving it like on the street, it is miserable. It's very not pleasant.
You see the fire coming out?
Yeah. What, you don't want to like Khalil's ugliest Integra?
Look at
I
that,
hate
bro.
that
Look at
Integra.
that fire.
Oh shit, he's got fire. I just
Yeah.
thought that was a dumpster on fire. In front of the thing, he parked in front of a trash can that had a fire lit. That's what I thought.
Civics, I think, are correctly appreciated in some communities, and then in some of them, like, you never really actually figured out why people like Civics. Like, you ended up just getting indoctrinated into Civics and never really learned, like, how much fun you can have with a Civic. Because it's a fun front-wheel drive car that's not incredibly fast, but is, like, fun to drive. It's like a Miata. It is a front-wheel drive Miata, in my opinion. Where it's super fun to drive, super lightweight, but a lot of people are just not quite going in the direction that I feel like it should.
I haven't really seen, to be honest, I haven't really seen any older Civics on the road like that.
They're running out.
Like the early 2000s,
Yeah, a lot of people
90s
have
Civics
just
were
absolutely
gone.
destroyed them.
They're running out, and then a lot of them are stopped. They parked them because they don't want to.
Sitting in someone's garage,
Waiting.
pimped out.
I don't like front wheel drive cars, but I can appreciate the Civic. Like it has a very fun playfulness to it.
Bro, I saw this video of this dude, redneck guy, put a Cummins engine inside of a Mustang.
Yeah, but why?
Because he's crazy. Blows out the engine all the fucking time.
And it's got to be miserable to work on too.
Like, he's literally always fixing it. He's like one of those YouTubers that does those crazy builds sponsored by
Yeah.
Ford and shit.
Yeah. It seems so like pointless. Like, yeah, sure, you can make 2,000 foot-pounds of torque and fucking 300 RPM or 300 horsepower.
He uses it
but,
for
like,
dragging.
I mean, I
Look
get
up
it.
the Cumming Mustangs. Cumming Mustang.
Well, come on, you're Mustang.
On YouTube. Yeah. That guy.
Oh lord!
If you're drag racing it, I can kind of get it.
Yeah, he does drag races.
Like, drag racing is kind of the, I guess, free-form version of circuit racing. Like, I feel like circuit racing is the most racing thing that you can do. And then drifting is what's called a offshoot kind of.
It's entertainment. It's just pleasure,
Yeah, you're doing it for fun rather than
performance.
Fucking
Yeah.
diesel Mustang, dog.
But
It's-
why?
I think that's sick. I don't know why, bro. Maybe, I don't know, man.
Oh my
That's
god!
fucking
The
sick,
smoke
bro.
goes over. You're obstructing your vision.
Oh, the cowl hood.
The smoke goes right over your windshield. That is kind of wild. All right.
But like I can kind of understand the drag racing guys because like the drag racing guys, they're basically just trying to get as much power to the ground as they physically can while having the lightest car that they can.
Yeah.
And I can kind of get it, but like it's also, I feel like it's exclusively a money dumping endeavor. Like it doesn't really
Drag
have
racing?
any. Yeah. Like basically all it is a bunch of guys see who can spend the most money on their car.
You're not going to be a
than-
millionaire drag racing.
Yeah, no. The way that you become a millionaire drag racing is you start with $1 billion and then you start drag racing.
Exactly.
This is the channel right here, bro. Straight recordings off of Japanese television.
Oh, hell yeah, brother.
That is the initial D inspiration guy.
Yeah.
That is the guy that the story was
Um,
inspired from.
Fuck, of course I can't remember his name. He's so funny. He's a very, like, I don't want to say pure person.
He was the one that allegedly invented drifting in the first place. He was just so good in the circuit that he was such a far lead that he decided to showboat.
Start fucking
and that
around,
was
man.
the way that he discovered to drive, to showboat.
So drifting is relatively new.
Yeah, relatively.
What, that would have been the 80s?
I think this was late 80s, early 90s.
For him, right?
Yeah, when they were really starting. I want to say that it was early 90s. The funny thing is that I actually don't know all that much about drifting history. Like I know what the emotion that you should be getting from it is, and like I understand what its idea is, but I don't understand, like I don't know what the actual
I just know
history
about him
is.
because of the show and because I knew about
Initially.
this channel. This
Yeah.
is somehow I had watched this channel. I never knew the show, and then when I came back to watching the show, I was like, "Wait a second! This can't be a coincidence that this guy's shredding it around these tracks with his old AE86."
Yeah. AE86 is also a car that I don't think really, for its time, it was a good car. However, in the modern day, I don't necessarily feel like it's that special. Like, I feel like it's special as a history piece, but I don't think that it's necessarily...
Right. It's special as a history piece, and it's literally chosen in that show because, it's just such an underperforming, unsuspecting car that how could this be the winning guy driving around in this car that's so average and underwhelming?
The funny thing is that that generation of Corolla drove like pretty much every other economy car from the time. The only thing is that you could push it to do other things. Ironically, it kind of goes against what I was saying earlier of like, kind of keep the car doing what it should be doing. And this is just from my experience from driving AE86 Corollas. I haven't driven one yet that's like completely 100% bone stock and like restored. So I don't know personally if it's an unexciting car to drive. It could be a fun car to drive. But from the ones that I've driven, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily exciting. One of my friends, Cody Maverick, he has a AE86 Corolla that he's done up pretty nicely with a Beams motor. And it's a very fun to drive car. But I feel like his car's a little bit too serious for me. Like it feels and technically drives well, but it doesn't feel nice and it doesn't feel fun.
Yeah, when on these videos when he's driving his car, he's flooring it the whole time. He doesn't let off the gas because you can't.
These aren't very powerful.
No, because
cars.
It's not a powerful car, so you have to floor it the whole time. In any other car, you would have got to that speed faster and had to slow down.
The RP or the horsepower just ain't there.
Exactly. So you can afford to floor. It's very floorable, like I said.
Yeah.
You can just keep it floored the whole time. And
So question, did this like modding and pimping out these economy car, team or whatever, like community start in Japan, like in China or whatever?
the Japanese
Japan.
that style of modification. Well, it probably comes down to the same way that modification started here with organized crime.
But like
With the Yakuza trying to
economy
so,
cars
no?
though.
They just
no, 'cause
decided to
what-
modify.
What I think if I remember correctly, there were like import problems, and people wanted what's called the European like flavor of cars.
That was
like
the most
the higher
desirable.
performance cars.
Yeah.
And one of them was like the Porsches. The Porsches are actually really, really, really big in Japan. Also,
It's the most JDM of all the European cars.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Well, the thing is that it has that same emotion.
Exactly.
Of fun.
You ever played Maximum Tune at Tampa Lanes?
I don't.
They had a Porsche in there. They had the Porsche in there, the Blackbird. Or not the Blackbird, but they had a Porsche.
Yeah.
And it was very hard to beat.
Yeah.
It was the only not Japanese car in that game.
Right. And like the Porsche like has the emotion of enjoying driving.
Exactly.
And I feel like all of their cars at the time weren't necessarily doing that. So people tried to modify them until it did. And then manufacturers actually started leaning into that and building performance cars that had that same emotion of being fun to drive.
So when you say that, like, the Porsche still has like this fun drivability factor to it, are you saying like it has like less computerization and all that bullshit in it?
No. So not necessarily. So what I'm saying when I say that is the steering, if imagine in your head that there's a winding road that like follows this type of a cable pattern where it's just kind of weaving through. It's winding it, but it's a small course that you can only get to like 45 miles an hour. Can you have fun with a car, or will the car enjoy doing that? Will it like switching from left to right to left to right to left to right? Will it enjoy when you slam on the brakes?
It's capable of it.
The drivability is just
but it's playful. Like it feels like it wants to do it.
Like it's comfortable doing that, whereas other cars you're forcing it to do that.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're on the edge, and you
feel like you're
and therefore nervous to do so.
Yeah, you feel like you're having to pull the car through it instead of it going, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that.
Okay.
It's confidence inspiring.
I guess I haven't driven a car with that feel.
It's nimble.
I've driven a newer Miata, and that is probably the most capable car that I've felt. And I haven't driven a lot of cars, but it's just so low and planted.
Yeah, think of that, but apply it to more cars. Because there are other cars that drive like that aren't that. So if you like drive one of the new Subaru Crosstracks, they look like an SUV, they play like an SUV, but if you actually go through corners with them, it handles. But it's not necessarily stiff. It doesn't feel like a car. It feels like an SUV that's happy to go through these corners.
Subaru has a history of making cars that can do that, where everybody else is just making a big, comfortable car. Oh, you want a big, comfortable car, but your wife won't let you get a Hellcat? Here's a Jeep Tomahawk that has 600 horsepower in it.
Right. It's a couch that happens to have a whole lot of power.
Yeah. Right.
And having power isn't synonymous with being fast and fun.
That boat feel, you're driving a boat.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how the Mustang was, honestly.
It had a boat feel.
Yeah.
The Prius absolutely feels like I'm driving a couch.
I've been in a 2000 Coupe de Ville, so I know what a boat car actually feels like. Manny used to have a Coupe de Ville. You remember his Cadillac? His emerald green Cadillac with the beige interior.
I drove my sister's ex-boyfriend's Challenger. That was a boat. Like I felt like
the Challenger.
The hood went fucking far as shit. The fucking back was far as I'm like, what
And
the hell?
when you turn it, it goes.
Yeah. It's not tight.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't like driving that car. That made me not like Challengers anymore.
Yeah.
True.
All of Dodge's cars drive like that. If they don't drive like that, they drive like a car that has suspension that's over dampened. So it's rigid, but it still doesn't want to turn.
Yeah. So what would be a not a port, but what would be like a cool American fun drivable car that does want to perform with what you want to do and doesn't feel like it's pulling back? Like what would you suggest? An American car.
New Corvette.
I actually wouldn't put the new Corvette into it because it's too serious.
It's too serious.
That is a
It's
serious
too
whip.
serious.
It's too high strung.
And that's the problem that all of the ultra high end cars fall into, and why I separated Porsche from those cars.
Somewhere in that Goldilocks middle.
Yeah, like the car is technically fast. A person can drive it on a track very quickly, but it doesn't have the playfulness. The playfulness isn't there. It doesn't want you to be doing that. It just can deal with it.
Yeah.
And what's the name of it? I don't think there's any American cars that I would really even categorize into there.
Really?
Yeah, like the Mustang, they've all driven like muscle cars. All of Dodge's offerings all drive like muscle cars. I feel like there's a car, but I can't think of any major manufacturers that make a car that exudes that. And the funny thing is that I would also put like Lotus into a similar. So Lotus is really good at being light and nimble.
That was their claim
And
to
that's
fame.
like pretty much their only thing.
Lightness is speed.
But
To add speed, remove weight. Or
Yeah,
some shit
yeah,
like that is
yeah.
what he famously said.
Yeah,
remove
I can't even think of any. I'm not thinking of any American. I can only think of like
the Corvettes.
Focus.
The Corvettes are technically good, but they're too serious.
Yeah,
like
it's a series
they're
of
more
muscle
like a
car,
supercar. They're
supercar,
trying
yeah.
to perform with Ferrari, and Ferrari is a very serious manufacturer. Seriously, fucking.
Yes.
People like the new released Mustangs. I haven't. They're not bitching about these new ones.
I haven't tried the new one. I tried the previous generation with the one that they started putting independent rear suspension on everything. And that one was the one that the rear suspension just felt like it was Jello noodles, and that was it. And like the whole thing just kind of wobbled around and it did its own thing. Let's see.
Yeah, Americans don't really make any driving cars.
Every generation of the Camaro drives like a muscle car. The American idea of how a car should drive is meant for straight roads because that's a lot of what America has.
Big open highways with not a lot of turns.
Right, and you're not going to really enjoy one of the cars that I'm talking about on most American roads. Quite often you have to go, like, you only get little snippets of like what really feels good in the playfulness, like Patterson Road or some of the really small offshoot
Boy
streets
Scout.
that are they're snake shaped.
The back roads.
Yeah, all
outside
the
of
fun
town.
back roads. Only if you go there will you really you'll get an exact idea of like what exactly I'm talking about because the cars just are fun and playful there. But the American cars are made for the highway and going across country. So
That's upsetting. There's no American fun cars.
No driver's cars. There's fun cars. Like the Mustang is fun. You can floor it and get
Drivers.
smiles, right?
Yeah.
Drivers
But there's
cars.
no driver's cars.
right, I was gonna say the DMC DeLorean, but then I was like, no, those are boats also.
What are you
and then
talking
I was
about?
like, oh, well, what about the Fiero? Then I was like, no, those are boats too. Like,
What are you talking about?
they're
You know what the Pontiac Fiero is?
No, I know what a DeLorean
a
is.
firebomb.
A Pontiac Fiero. Let me show you the greatest car made by a dead manufacturer ever.
GTO. Ferrero.
Fuck it. I give you
The pop-up lights.
the mini Ferrari.
The funny thing is that the MR2 is a ripoff of the I think the MR2 is a ripoff of the Fiero.
The MR2 is a ripoff of the Fiero, and the Fiero is a ripoff of
Ferrari.
A Ferrari.
And then hang on, we've got
one more ripoff,
one more ripoff to do because it's the Del Sol. The Del Sol is a ripoff of the MR2.
which is a ripoff of the Fiero, which is a ripoff of the Ferrari.
Yeah,
It's literally the word Ferrari, but like discount.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like if I was selling you some sunglasses and they weren't Gucci, but I want to say a word real quick that you'll think I said Gucci.
Oh my goodness.
Now watch this Ferrari kit on the Fiero. People would buy kits to make it look more like, oh, there's a Lotus Elise. Oh no, that's a Ferrari F50.
Awful. It's so bad.
Why does it look so tiny?
Why is it? Because it's a tiny car. It's literally like a compact coupe, like a small coupe.
Have you ever seen
And this
the
is a
AutoZam
no, it's a
AZ1?
That's a Pontiac, huh?
Have you ever seen
The AZM? Yeah, I've seen
AZ1?
that.
No, the
AZ1, yeah, I've seen that.
AutoZam AZ1.
There's a Haggerty's got a good series of videos on these. You seen those?
I don't think so.
It's got really good with Jason Camisa, probably one of my
Okay.
favorite car YouTubers. If he would make more videos,
There's this guy I saw on Instagram. He drives like a Mustang Rolls Royce. It's pretty cool.
check this out, Daniel.
Mustang Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
Is this like a body kit that the guy put on? And
Oh, Doug DeMurro's got a video on it. Of course he does. Look at this. It's literally just like a miniature supercar.
I don't think Doug DeMuro would fit in that.
Right?
It's
He's
probably
6'4".
like in the first 3 minutes of the video, he'll probably say, "And I can't drive this around because I'm too big."
He got in the
he just
passenger because he
barely fits
can't
in that
fit in the
thing.
driver.
Yeah, there's no way that he's fitting in that driver's seat. He's hitting his head on the roof, leaning over.
I'm trying to find this.
His head's gonna stick out to where the roof is if he sits up straight.
Well, he drives the cars in his videos.
Oh my god, he's
I can't find it.
Dude, there's
yeah.
It's a head
see,
window.
This is the funniest thing. I love Doug DeMuro so much.
He's amazing. He's
I
amazing.
wish him all of the best things.
He's amazing. You know, he just bought a Porsche Carrera GT.
Yeah, I remember him saying that. Like,
that was his ultimate
car,
dream.
I was like, ooh,
That video was great because
it
it was actually one of the first pictures that he took that got picked up by a magazine.
Oh, okay,
Was a Carrera GT that he was trying to convince his friends that he saw.
okay.
It's a great story. Great success. Good for you, Doug. If you're into cars and you go on YouTube, Doug DeMuro.
Glad he got to where he is.
So, yeah. How does he rate the car? The tiny fucking thing.
How many horsepower?
45.
45. Where does that place it?
In that
Yeah,
category.
just underneath the MR2.
Oh,
Spider.
what do you know? What do you know?
and
Right
just
next to
above
the Fiero.
Sierra.
Right next to the Fiero,
Dude,
too.
the Toyota Sierra is another, or Sarah, sorry.
I've never seen a
So it's a
Toyota.
good car.
Toyota Sarah is also in that same category of like just weird cars.
With the butterfly.
They're real
doors.
small. I think there's a girl in
Why were they doing this?
there's a girl in Tampa that has one of these.
Really?
And I hate the way that the livery that she has on it. Like it's absolutely terrible.
It's like flowers.
It almost looks
Yeah,
like a
it's all
Sylvia in the
flowers.
front.
yeah, kind
a little
of.
Sylvia.
But that's a really, really cool car. I just don't like the way that she has it done up. I feel like she's leaning into the Veloster
It's
community
convertible
of people.
too. Shit. That looks barely stock.
Yeah, that's probably
That looks
stock.
aftermarket as hell.
Well, that's actually what the rear end is glass. Like it's a glass bubble that you sit in.
What?
That's
Is
cool.
this Jetsons ass
cool
car
as
Yeah.
fuck.
with a fucking Mitsubishi Talon rear end?
Yep. But you see how like it's just a cool car. Like you feel like you're driving in like what's the name of it?
Like a Jetsons car.
Yeah, Jetsons cars.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. There was another Toyota that had a Jetson-esque thing.
Yep.
I want to say it wasn't a minivan, but it was something in that type of a family. Look up like a Toyota bubble car. I think that might.
Bubble car. Bubble van.
It's got the Sarah.
Maybe it was the Sarah. It might just be the Sarah.
Oh my god, with the gold doors, holy shit. Convertible gold bubble. What else do they want to add to it? Did it sell?
No, I don't think they sold very
They
well.
tried everything under the sun and nobody bought it.
They probably made a certain
I don't know.
amount
Give me the
and
Celica.
That's it.
I don't know. That's kind of weird for me. Can I have the Corolla?
That is a cool car, man.
It is.
It is a cool car.
Yeah, they're very fun. There was a guy that had a glass top Porsche 911 that lives over in Odessa where I grew up. And he would come into the Advanced Auto Parts that I worked at. And he wouldn't come in. He would drive by. Like every once in a while, we would be standing by the window, not doing anything, because we're Advanced Auto Parts employees. And we would see him drive by, and we'd all go, "Oh man, that thing's sick." But
Nice.
I think it was gold.
All right, guys. It was great talking about these cars with you. I wish we found more people's car to roast.
Yeah, I feel like we should have found like a list or
Yeah.
something. Like,
I didn't think we were gonna roast cars.
well, I think we were trying to roast what's it called. Like, I ended up just talking about cars rather than like roasting specific people's cars.
It's all right. We had a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Learn
it's
some
fine.
stuff. See the state of Tampa's car culture. We need to talk about that.
Non-existent.
I feel like the only person that I want him to feel bad is the guy with the louvers on his hood.
On his Nathan Hewitt
yeah,
with his
yeah.
Camaro, yes.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna send you this clip, dog.
Everyone else, I'd say generally good feels.
But he's just what it is. I know, like, he spent a shit ton of money on that car.
No, I'm sorry.
Like, and he's always been like, he's always had Camaros. He had like a 94, 95 Camaro when we were in high school, and he'd be fucking drifting that bitch. He had like a nice ass system in it. That's his thing. He puts dope sound systems in his car. Puts like Dynamat. It's like, tweeters, back, front, all that shit, subs. Sounds really nice.
I'm definitely not the end all be all of cars, and definitely don't take my opinion as gospel.
I will, though,
for anything. And everyone just don't take my opinion as gospel. I'm just talking shit.
Well, if you enjoyed the show, thanks for hanging out.
Like,
If you got some shit to say, leave a comment.
peace.
Go follow Corporal Cabbage on Instagram if you want pictures of your car taken. If you want to glamour that baby up, hit the man up.
Hit him up. Peace, y'all. Well, yeah, you said his Instagram. Never mind.
Bye.